There I am. I see a big giant head on the screen. That would be me, Big Ed Mustafa. I will be your host tonight for the wanderings of All-Up Enya. My good friend All-Up cannot join us tonight. He had some very important work-related matters to tend to. I think his exact words were, "Hey dude, can you cover my stream for me? I gotta go drinking. It's a work thing." Like, sure, I can cover you. So we are here tonight on LOTRO stream. All Up can go take care of his work obligations, and I will be happy to be his substitute tonight. So, welcome, 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 everybody. Happy you're joining me tonight here on a Wednesday evening. Hi, Feckless. And it says Maiden of Rohan may have actually started watching, so glad we're getting things kicked off to a good start here tonight. Dashboard, blah, 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 tweet it out. I was trying to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. I am in Discord, and ironically enough, I am in All Up Enya's Discord tonight. So if you normally pop in and talk to All Up Enya, you can pop in and talk to me. Would love to have folks to chat with while we're streaming tonight. My three highest level characters are, of course, Little Ed Mustafa, Nemini the Hunter, and Galandriel the Champion. All three of them are grinding away on dailies at the moment. I've got Nemini and Little Ed Mustafa both working on Height Bolt in Eastern Rohan, and Galandriel has been doing North Athelian dailies. And I happen to stream doing North Athelian dailies Friday. So, in the interest of mixing things up and maybe doing some different things tonight, I thought we'd pop over to my character who is my namesake, Big Ed Mustafa, on Crick Hollow. Big Ed Mustafa is in Lothlorien and has started fighting the orcs that are coming down out of the Misty Mountains on the elves side of things. So, without further ado, we can get to playing. So, glad you're with me for the adventure tonight, and hopefully it will be fun and entertaining. I think when last I left off, Big Ed Mustafa was fishing here in the Swan Fountain near Galadriel and well, their tree. They're flat here in Carad Galadon. Karas Galadon.
The Lord and Lady
Easy for me to say.
Services.
The Yule Festival is back. I know it's very popular. Not one that I normally worry about too much myself. Let's see what the hobbits have for us today. Hey, we got some item XP. Nothing wrong with that. You know there's going to be some fishing going on, technical. Two things that you don't normally get to see on the Wanderings of All Up Enya are fishing and crafting, and I'm sure I will be doing both at some point. If for no other reason than All Up Enya might come back and watch the replay, and then learn something about crafting and or fishing, which would surprise everyone, I'm sure. And unfortunately, even though I have a big pile of fish, I don't know if All Up has any characters here on Crick Hollow, so I don't know that I can actually mail him any fish. That will have to wait.
Will you aid the Galadrim?
I will aid the Galadrim. Big Ed Mustafa is a guardian. Rather excited to be getting a guardian Not near level cap per se, but at least into the upper echelons. I understand they're very useful for group content later on. I'll be looking forward to that. Lord of the Wings has just gone past. Feckless, thank you for the host. Appreciate you helping highlight All Up's stream. Too busy to do that right now. I have to drop the crate off first, and then I can talk to the NPCs.
Servants of the enemy cannot pass the bounds of Lorien.
Welcome to Lorien. May I have a word with you?
We'll come back for that.
Those who have grown weary of battle flee to the havens.
The Lord and Lady have need of your services.
A shadow falls beyond Lothlorien, against which we must be prepared.
Wow. Lewin, Angmar, Secret of the Swords. Ranger's Cloaks. Tapestries of Deeds, The Rift. There's got to be something I don't need to worry about. Lots of Lothlorien quests. I will cancel that Misty Mountains quest.
Tarry a moment and speak with me.
I will tarry and speak with you. Ah. Again, Mustafa now proudly displays his expert angler title, which he has active. I can promise you that in any event, that is a much more rare title than Thane of Heightbolt, or many, many other popular titles. So we're going to take a quick jog out to the mountains and then kill some orcs. Because remember, whenever you're in Middle-earth, if you're killing orcs, you're probably doing the right thing. At no time is it ever wrong to kill orcs. There might be things you could be doing that would be slightly more constructive than just butchering orcs, but butchering orcs is never wrong. If the Dalai Lama lived in Middle-earth, he would be out there with a bow and a sword yelling, "Die, orc scum." Don't mistake me on this. I guarantee that would happen. Hope everybody else is having a good week so far. We are starting to enjoy an unseasonably warm break from winter. About this time last week, we were trying to get rid of about 4 or 5 inches of snow and ice. And today I think it might have hit 60, so that is a vast improvement. I'm too busy to do that. Of course, when you're carrying a crate is when you're going to run across the most crafting materials. So that's usually how it goes. And that gives us a little bit of a course correction. Oh no, rabid wolverines. Hi, Zinger. I was trying to think of a good name for when I'm impersonating All Up Enya. Maybe we should call me All Up Yoaz, maybe? I don't know. Should be something offensive. I think All Up would want it that way. But being that this is not After Dark, and in fact should probably be slightly more family friendly than my usual stream on Fridays. Not that I ever get into crude vulgarity, but I do enjoy the occasional entendre. Remember, if you have a problem keeping which one of us is all up and which one of us is Big Ed straight, I am the one without the Texas speech impediment. So, hopefully that helps. Where am I going?
What brings you to Lothlorien?
Well, there we go. Should have most of these quests tagged already. Yeah. So Lothlorien is a wonderful place to wander around. It's absolutely beautiful. Unfortunately, it may not be the best or most efficient place to quest. There's lots of meandering and looking for different things and basically running around in circles in the woods until you get to Callus Galadon, and then it's a lot of wandering around in circles inside the city. But the view in daytime is spectacular. I don't think I've got any shield spikes. I do have shield spikes, good. +5 attack. Alright, one Orcsmith down. We're already making Middle-earth safer for the Free Peoples. only reason I attacked that goblin is it said he might drop battle plans, but he did not drop battle plans. So that was a very disappointing encounter. Crafting materials that I can actually harvest. So what's new in the life of Mustafa? Mustafa's not a bad nickname. Work's been a little bit of a grind. We have a customer that I support who dropped a boatload of money on brand new Cisco gear. We got these new C9504 spine switches in for their new 100 gigabit network backbone, and apparently they must use Intel Atom processors for some of the traffic management, and Intel sent out a few million bad processors. I got bored reading the technical details, but essentially what happens is these processors run for a little while and then they get a clock error and they basically freeze up and it bricks the device. So if they use them in a network switch or they use them in a network appliance, not only does the processor fail, but they basically have to scrap the whole system and start over. In fact, we already had some brand new equipment that they had to send RMA replacements out for. And if it says Cisco on it, it's not cheap. So whatever it may be. So we got 3 of these new $75,000 to $100,000 network switches in, and the very first thing we had to do as soon as they hit the floor was strip them apart and get all the serial numbers off the internal components so we could check them against the recall list. So that's been fun. It's like, I've never seen one of these before, and they're outrageously expensive. I should strip it down to the bare components here and see if I can remember how to reassemble it. That's part of the fun. Are there races that are better suited for different classes? Not every race can be every class, but as long as a race can be a class, they're normally pretty good. What I consider my primary character is sort of an oddball. Most people don't recommend elves as champions, but I've played an elf champion since the beginning. She's level capped, does just fine. You can get more morale points and more healing options from Race of Men, but you can pretty much play whatever you want. Lots of folks are talking about how they wish there was a Hobbit champion, but I believe all of the races can be Guardians, for instance, which is the race I'm playing now. So, Irish Dad, an excellent question. There are no elf or dwarf burglars, for instance. So if you want to be a burglar, you have to be a human or a hobbitses. That little charge skill I'm popping off there, if you actually run at an opponent with the charge on, we'll throw a quick salute to Luna Selena's way there. Anyway, that charge skill automatically stuns if you charge at an opponent and then follow it up with a shield skill. I think human burglars do pretty well too. The Hobbit burglar has a few advantages because it gets a couple of extra flops from racial skills. Hobbit silence being notably handy. But you know, the extra heal that men get would be nice. So that'll affect your playstyle a little bit, but I don't know it's as big of a deal. I think all 4 races can be hunters. All 4 races can be guardians. Only humans can be captains, which is kind of interesting. I wouldn't think a dwarf captain would be that big of a stretch. The dwarves can be champions and guardians, so it's not like they're missing out on too many of the heavy melee classes. Weird, I don't have any crates to pick up, just orcs to kill. That's interesting. That's the skill I was looking for. I knew I didn't have my skill bar quite sorted out. Goldfells, how are you? Good to see you, Sam. Coke Zero is delicious. Although I have a terrible, terrible confession to make. As of right now, I'm drinking Diet Dew. So once it's finished, I will switch over to Coke Zero. Now, the reason that Lothlorien is so upset is the orcs have stolen all of their participation trophies. So there's crates of stolen elf trophies over here. You know, the elves have those youth soccer leagues where they don't keep score. Well, the elves still want to make sure that their accomplishments are acknowledged, so they want to get these back from the orcs and take them. Enemies at Drumadal, huh? Collected crates. That's a lot of enemies to kill. Fortunately, I will not run out of arrows. And I see a notification that Jirosi just started watching. Jirosi, of course, will be streaming at 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on LOTRO stream. He's taking over for Eldolith in her old time slot as she has moved from Nebraska to Germany. And I got a notification she was watching earlier, but I think Eldolith might also be. sorry about that pause there. Eldolith was also watching Gussie Moose, who was doing some book club stuff this afternoon. Hopefully y'all got a chance to pop by and catch some of that. Guardians tend to kill rather slowly, but if you have to fight groups of creatures, I like mixing in the area of attack skills. I'm using a combination of sweeping cut and whirling retaliation. And what that does for you is it does about the same damage to your primary target as most of your other attacks. You've got a couple of big hitters at the end of your crit chains, but those two AoE attacks help you kind of whittle down the other creatures that you're waiting to get to. So once you drop the first guy, by the time you get to the second and third guy, they're already whittled down quite a bit, and it's not usually too big of a hassle to kill them. Before you get those AoE skills, though, anytime you have to fight 3 or 4 of something, it's like, ugh. Burglars are that way early on, too. Unfortunately, their skill trees kind of blossom and fights become faster as you level up. Getting those abilities goes a long way towards making them easier to play. And we'll charge this guy just because it's funny. I don't know what happened. I was just standing by the campfire, and some dude comes charging in at me and crashes me with his shield. Fountain Coke from McDonald's. Coke Zero. Coke sniffed off a table. Oops, I mean Coke. Nine of 15. I used to be a regular Coca-Cola drinker and ended up switching to Coke Zero a few years ago. Alabama, on the other hand, actually likes Diet Coke. His mom drank it, and he got used to it when he was growing up, he said, so he's always drank Coke or Diet Coke. Can't get used to the real cola taste or the crisp deliciousness of Coke Zero, I guess. Am I missing a crate somewhere? Yep. We'll get him again with the charge. By the time he comes out of that stun, he's already about half dead. Yeah, let's get both both of these guys grabbed here, and we'll start hitting the AoEs. If I seem a bit distracted, I'm a little nervous. This is Mustafa's home, and I can hear her out in the kitchen. I think she's cooking dinner, so hopefully that won't entail a trip to the emergency room later. If you're not going to come to me, then I will hit you with the charge. That's what he gets for being lazy. Face full of heavy shield. And there's my 15th. So we'll keep on trucking here. As long as she doesn't burn the saltines. Exactly. So I have about 74 orcs to kill before I'm done with Orc Slayer Advanced out here in Lothlorien. That is a very easy achievement. There's a lot of orcs to kill. This mountain is full of them. We've destroyed the weapon stores. Probably should have killed that squirrel, but I decided to let him go. He can warn the others about how fierce I am. Again, if anybody wants to pop into Discord and chat, I do have All Up Enya's Discord open. I am in one of his LOTRO channels. He has two for some reason. And while I'm thinking about it, we'll send All Up a quick shout out. If you're not already subscribing to All Up Enya, shame on you. You can go to All Up's personal channel and throw him a follow. I'm sure he'd appreciate it and will be happy to hear from you. Also, if you haven't noticed the banner running across the top of the stream, if you like to keep up on all the latest LOTRO news, and there's been plenty of it lately, the goings-on with the new producer's letter, plans for Mordor that's coming, update 20, which is almost imminent at this point. There's some great podcasts. I like to listen to them at work. As a matter of fact, I just listened to the new LOTRO Players News today while I was working on broken brand new Cisco gear. You can catch LOTRO Players News and LOTRO Players Academy at LOTROplayers.com. Also, MMO Reporter has a great LOTRO podcast, not too surprisingly entitled LOTRO Reporter. And you can check them out at LOTROreporter.com, which will actually hyperlink you over to the MMO Reporter site, where they not only report on LOTRO, but a bunch of other MMOs. So you can check out the LOTRO podcast and look around and see if they've got anything else they report on that's of interest to you. I'm sure you'll find a lot to listen to over there. There's also articles and how-to guides and some player fan fiction and lots of good stuff to check out. So be sure to give those two fine websites a look. A lot of folks put a lot of hard work into those podcasts, and it's very much appreciated. There's nothing I like more than when Mrs. Mustafa drags me to the store with her than to pop on a LOTRO podcast and make her listen. It was that kind of horrible grinding down and breaking of her spirit that made her agree to marry me in the first place. Thank you for that, Technical. That is a good point. Expert fishing tips, and if you ever want to catch like a 24-hour farming crafting stream, my channel's as likely a place to find that as anywhere. My job is to make the rest of the LOTRO stream team look good, so if you check out my stream over at my channel, you'll have a much greater appreciation for everyone else. And as always, if you've ever even had an inkling of a thought that maybe you might want to try streaming LOTRO, we would encourage you to do it. I started streaming LOTRO because I loved the game and I wanted to show it off. And lo and behold, here I am now on the LOTRO stream channel, Standing Stone Games official Twitch channel. And obviously you don't have to be an expert player or an expert streamer. We're just trying to provide 24/7 coverage of LOTRO so we can show the game off, let past players know that the game's alive and well and actually growing, and maybe reach out to some folks who hadn't seen the game before, and they can check us out on Twitch and go, hey, well, that's pretty cool. What does LOTRO cost? And then we all go, it's free! And they're so blown away by that, they download it immediately and start playing. And by immediately, I mean however long it takes to download 23 gigabytes and install it. Alright, Nardu Stazk is squared away. We will keep on trucking. Looks like I got a bunch of quests to turn in, which is a good thing. And it looks like Big Ed is just a stone's throw away from 63rd level. Well, more than a stone's throw, but, you know. It's not a very light stone and I throw it really far, that could be a good thing. Kazad Scar. If it seems like I'm unnecessarily collecting a lot of crafting materials, I tend to create my accounts in terms of what I call crafting circles on a given server. On Crick Hollow, I've got more than a fair share of characters. You need about 5 characters to have a complete crafting circle, where you've got a farmer, a cook, you've got a jeweler, prospectors, weaponsmith, tailor, armorsmith, scholar, and my Arkenstone character line, I've got the 5 characters that complete that. I had a line of characters over on Silverload, and I brought most of them here to Crick Hollow when they closed Silverload. So I've got some doubles over here. I've got I had 2 woodworkers, and I converted one to scholar. But I've got 2 metalsmith tailors. One is sworn to the, or I guess I should say, a member of the tailoring guild, and the other one is a member of the metalsmithing guild. So sometimes it's okay to have 2 of the same crafter. The hell was my point? I'm starting to babble on in circles. It's okay, it was a long day at work. Thanks for putting up with me today. Anyway, my whole point was that Big Ed Mustafa is actually my highest level character here on Crick Hollow. So he has been gathering not only his own crafting material, but crafting material to share with the rest of the characters. Even though he may not need the Khazad Skarn, I'm sure there is somebody downstream from him who does. Yay, thank you, Tech. 32 gigs for technical, not including plugins. Ran past him. It looks like the sun's finally starting to come out over Lothlorien. The golden wood is much prettier when it's actually golden. He did not make it. Is it a little weird that I like the dying noises the goblins make? Blocked? How could he block to the king? I thought that was unblockable. Oh well. Well, these goblins are really staying put. I'm not getting them to charge in on me at all. It's like they're like, he's a guardian. He'll have to run over here eventually. No reason to pursue him. Okay, looks like we've got 2 more crates of participation ribbons for the elves. And we should be able to go turn in some of these. I'm gonna remove that quest and take a look at the log. Defeat enemies. Oh, I got 1 more to kill. So you always got to check your quest log before you move out. And of course he's not going to run over here either, why should he? Gonna beat this goblin down like he owes me money. Okay, let's see what the quest guide says. Lots of green check marks. Burn the banner at Bold Malfung. Turns aglow. Running interference. I got more orc scouts to kill too. Oh, good news. Singing to saplings can be turned back in. Perfect, Orc Scout. Moose Raid, awesome. Hi, Elder James. Hi, Gussie. Laura Moore, welcome, welcome. Sorry about Moobot. Moobot can be a little finicky, but fortunately you only got a 6-second timeout. Yeah, we'll kill this goblin just because. need to burn a banner and I missed it when I was up here earlier. Shame on me. Pardon me, but do you have any banners that need burnt? Yeah, let's just pull all of you right now. One of you wants to hang back. See what I mean? By the time I got to that third guy, he was about half bled out already. Okay, where's this banner I need to torch? Banner to torch, there it is. Oh, this other orc's gonna want to die. I will accommodate him. Face full of shield spike should help move him along to the next light. Strider 22, howdy. I like the sound he made when he ate that charge, too. I clicked the wrong button. So any of you that actually play Guardians, I've heard that they fixed some of the Guardian bleed problems that they'd actually caused a few updates ago. Any feedback on that? Do you guys think Guardians are starting to play like they should again, or do you think there's still a problem that needs to be straightened out? Voice your opinion now in LOTRO stream chat. Inquiring minds want to know. Sneaky orcs. Uh-oh. It's a named goblin. It's a rare signature. The good news is he'll probably drop a mithril flake that I don't particularly need for anything, so that will be exciting. The other good news, he doesn't seem particularly challenging to kill. Boom, mithril flake, who called it? And now another goblin wants to fight. It's a little bit like Werewolves of London. Stay on the road, stay off the moors. You get standing in the wrong place too long, you get overrun with wandering creatures. Okay, I need to find one more orc scout on my way out of here. There should be some down the hill. Now who's fighting me? You're not even an orc scout. Why are you messing with me? Go away. Any orc scouts up here? Nope, just one lone warrior. A stupid hurler and a smith. And not a cool smith like Robert Smith from The Cure. A lame orc smith instead. Hurler, warrior, lurker. Well, here, let's set that as quest guide focus. Maybe it'll actually point me at one nearby. You can't always get the orc that you want, but if you try sometimes, you just might find that you get the orc that you need. And boom, there's my 6th scout. Thank you, Mick Jagger, for your wise advice. Somebody's running up and down the mountain. You have to remember they fixed one thing and broke another on the guard. So I guess they will have another hot fix next week. It would be nice if they cared enough about Guardians to actually do a hot fix, but that may actually wait. I think I'd heard March for update 20. So, of course, that could be baseless speculation. If you're curious about all of the rights and privileges that come with being an official streamer here on LOTRO Stream, it's basically nothing. Hi, honey. What do you have for me? A crisp, delicious, refreshing Coke Zero? What a great idea, thank you. You're not cooking, are you?
Yep.
What are you making?
Pork chops and roasted vegetables and meatloaf with mashed potatoes and carrots.
Alright, what should we get on the pizza?
Oh, I forgot to get frozen pizza.
She's a wonderful woman with many fine qualities. Cooking is not amongst them. I am actually the cook of the family, but she won't let me into the kitchen because she thinks I'll mess it up, which I probably will. She does know how to cook Coke Zero. Duran says, how wanted are champs at high level? Will it be hard to find a group? Can they solo much? I know, so many questions. Well, I consider myself fairly well versed with champions. I've got one at level cap. It's interesting because one of the champions' great strengths is area of effect attacks. They can hit a lot of opponents. And one of the quest dynamics that goes into a lot of the instances and skirmishes and raids is there's lots of instances where you have to be careful not to hit certain creatures. So in order to curb the enthusiasm of champions, Some of the high-level content discourages area of effect attacks. The good news is champions are still very effective playing red line without area of effect. Just targeting a single target can still be very devastating. I really like my champion. I have a lot of fun playing her. Very good class to play solo with. Still reasonably welcome in high-level raids and skirmishes. And a good, fun, diverse class that's very flexible. A lot of fun. If you're playing a champion, you're going to have a good time. Champion and hunter are probably the two classes I'd recommend the most for new players. The light armor classes, Runekeeper, Minstrel, and Lore Master, are very powerful, but I think you need to know the game mechanics a little better before you jump right into one. Captains are a little complicated. Guardians would make a very good starter class except for one thing. They kill rather slowly at lower levels, and they can be a little bit dull. The same thing can be said for burglars. Low-level burglars kill fairly slowly, and they don't handle multiple mobs very well at the same time. Once you get a burglar up to... Champions kind of the same way. It seems like once about my characters are starting to hit about 40th, 45th level, Guardians and Burglars both open up quite a bit. You start getting some more powerful skills on your skill tree, and you can do more damage, and you've got more flexibility. Burglar's really fun, but that's another class that I wouldn't recommend as a starting class. Kudos to Maiden of Rohan, who that was her first character she ever played, and she got her first burglar up to level cap, I think, before she started playing any other characters. So that's quite an accomplishment. So we'll give her a shout out, even though I don't think she's watching anymore. Shout out, Maiden of Rohan. So shame on you if you're not already following her. You should also be following Gussie Moose. That's okay, Gussie. Welcome back. I am doing good. Alapenya had some serious power drinking to do, so he asked me to cover for him tonight, which I was happy to do. You must select one of the quest rewards. It was a work-related thing, so I kind of know how that goes. You get somebody in the office who has a birthday, or you're having a going away for somebody or whatever. If you don't show up, you're the jackass in the office. And everybody's like, I can't believe he didn't show up. I can't, yeah. Well, he's got something going. You have to go to that stuff.
Will you aid the Galathrim?
It's office politics.
A shadow falls beyond Lothlorien, against which we must be prepared. A shadow falls beyond Lothlorien, against which we must be prepared.
What news from abroad?
So hopefully he's out having a good time with his co-workers, and I'm sure he'll be back. Tuesday is scheduled. You'll see all up over the weekend too. I'm sure he'll be around. So I wasn't going to try this skirmish, but we'll give this a try.
What news from abroad?
We have to kill 30 orcs before we lose 12 elves. I think I can do that as a guardian. It's a little tricky, because... They all died. we're starting to get bunches of orcs out here. It was bad that elf charged out. That should be 30, now I can run away. I win.
What business have you with the Lord and Lady?
Thanks, Ed. I'm debating between my 68 Guardian and my 18 Champ. Want to play a Dwarf melee class. Forums are rather down on the current state of Guardians at the moment, so they have me a little leery about getting back into it after my long break. Well, it's, you know, the only thing you know for certain is that it's going to change at some point. So, yeah, I'm playing a Guardian here at 62nd level and, you know, tearing through basically on-level content. Most of the stuff's conning blue, so it's not like I'm wildly over level for the area. I'm just having fun, killing orcs and doing fine. It's like, well, should you have more power at endgame? Yeah. Will they fix it? Probably eventually. I wouldn't discourage you from playing your Guardian, but champions are a lot of fun. You know, I play both. I've got a captain. I don't play captains as often. It's kind of a weird thing, but when I sit down and play, if you've caught my Friday night stream, Adventures After Dark with Big Ed Mustafa, you can watch right here on LOTRO stream, 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You know, I'll typically stream, even though I'm scheduled 3 hours, I'll usually stream 4 or 5. And when you stream longer sessions like that, I find minstrels, wardens, and captains a little tedious to play because of all the yelling. I know it sounds kind of silly and I can turn it down, but it's a little bit like that water fountain in North Ithilien, or the waterfall rather. It's like, does it have to be that freaking loud? So, I know I can turn down the shouting volume too, but it's one of those things that I'll play them for a little while and they just kind of grate on me a little bit. So I do have my minstrel on Arkenstone. Lenorian, I think, just hit 81st or 82nd level. She's my 4th highest level character, so it's not like I never play my minstrel, but if I were to mock him before his followers, I would hurt his feelings.
The Lord and Lady have need of your services.
And how are we doing on loot? Don't need that. Don't need that. We've got a champion, a captain, and a burglar all here on Crick Hollow that are all 38th level. I've got a warden in his low 50s. A lore master that's in her low 50s. another guardian that's actually 28th level. Again, that was bad planning left over from the Silver Load merger. But a lot of the stuff that's going to pop up as far as legendaries I don't really need. Either I don't have that character class on the server, like I don't have a hunter or a minstrel here on Crick Hollow, or they're low enough level I don't need to keep that gear yet, so to find somebody to buy these fish. I'd hate to miss out on the copper pieces. I think I've got enough quests I can actually head back up the mountain and kill more orcs. Goldfish, 22 bitterlings, 16 minnows. Pro fishing trip for you angling enthusiasts of Middle Earth. If a fish is in a purple background, that means that it's just basically a scrap fish. Those are all worth a copper a piece. You can't use them as a cooking ingredient. They're not trophies. The only thing you can do is turn them into a vendor for a copper. The fish has a green background, however. Although I shouldn't say that. I'm trying to think. A lot of the trophy fish, trout, darters, and sturgeon, they have a special trophy class to them. I think those actually show up on purple backgrounds. But you don't need to save them. You can't cook with them and they're not trophies. If a fish shows up on a green background like this delicious savory carp, that means that it's actually a cooking ingredient, and you can save it and cook it later.
I cook.
I know. Have you ever made fish that you thought turned out good, honey?
Yes.
Your salmon?
Yep.
You've made a lot of bad fish over the years, though.
Oh, yeah. Right
I think
up there.
we can both agree on that.
Mm-hmm.
But usually a week or two after she makes fish, the smell finally goes away, and we can enjoy our living room again.
The cats don't come around.
Exactly.
Who's watching you?
Nobody's watching me, honey.
That's too bad. I'm looking at Duran 21.
All the ladies showed up here hoping they could hear All Up In You call them, "Hey, darling, how are you doing?" And then they get me and they're just disappointed.
He's just a sexy beast to you, isn't he?
I know. He's a darn handsome man. That's why people get us confused all the time.
Uh-huh.
My wife occasionally gets jealous of all the time I spend chatting and yucking around with All Up here on Twitch. We have a good time when we hang out. I'm not denying it. And again, since the response to Discord has been overwhelming, I will repeat the message. If you'd like to pop into Discord and say hi, so you don't have to type to chat, I am on All Up Enya's Discord channel, so feel free to come by. If you don't know the Discord channel, you can go to All Up Enya's personal streaming channel and just type !Discord, and it should print out the permanent invite link. I don't think broken metal clubs are good for anything. Anything that's labeled as gorgeous, gorgeous fur, gorgeous skin, gorgeous wings, gorgeous sword sheaths are all useless. You should vendor that stuff immediately. I think it might be time to pop another shield spike, especially if I'm going to go around this whole mountain again. Nothing quite like having a hunter out in front of you, killing everything in sight.
Hi, Big Ed. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Good. Ninth Con. I didn't even see you sneak into chat.
Oh, yeah, I was in there for a little bit.
I think we all know how good I am about paying attention to chat, so I'm sure that one's on me.
While we're crashing in Olip's Discord, what we need to do is remove the beers from the fridge and replace them with frescas. He'll find it a hoot.
Hopefully he'll like that. We'd be doing him a favor since he's trying to become the new Finn all up in ya.
Yeah, that's true. We'll put diet frescas in there.
I think all frescas diet.
Oh, is it? I had no idea.
You can get squirt and diet squirt, but fresca's diet only. The 40 Thieves Kin House may have 1 or 2 trophies mounted. That is true. Yeah, I take my fish to the fishing taxidermist is in Breetown, and well, that's a good question. I bought a cottage here not too long ago on Crick Hollow, mostly just for extra storage. Again, if you've seen me stream before, you know that can be kind of an issue for me. And I don't know if I've put up a lot of fishing trophies yet. That might be fun to go check out. Of course, for all I know, the maintenance expired and all my stuff's in escrow. Have you had a chance to play much lately, Ninth?
Yeah, I played a little bit the other day. I've kind of been on a big SWTOR kick this past couple weeks, but okay. I'm going to get back into LOTRO.
Cool. Yeah, it's been kind of a holding pattern. I mentioned earlier that I finally broke down and started taking my champion out to North Athelion, and she's been picking flowers and running dailies. And it's funny because it's a parking lot out there. I mean, it's amazing to see an area of the game that crowded. There's all kinds of us out there just kind of running around picking flowers, running dailies, and waiting for the next update. So hopefully that will be mercifully soon.
Yeah, I'm sure the taxidermist and Bree loves seeing one of your tunes come in. Oh great, I'm never going home tonight.
Well, I think I've mentioned this on stream before too. I'm getting old enough that I start repeating my stories, so I preface a lot of them with that as a disclaimer. You may have already heard this, so since I'm mentioning that, you cannot complain about me repeating my stories. But I was talking to Mort, and I made a comment about let me know if you need any fishing trophies, and he's like, well, I'm sorry, Big Ed, I only have a house on Gladden. I don't have a house on any other servers. And I didn't have any characters over there, so I created a captain on Gladden just so I could go fishing and mail him the trophies. So Mort now has some fishing trophies to hang up. How do you not fish? It's like the most important thing in Middle Earth.
I'm imagining you starting this game off with fishing, and then about a month later going, "Oh wow, there's like quests and shit you can do." In this game."
What are these gold rings above these people's heads? This dude's not even the fishing vendor. Why would I talk to them? I'm a sick man. I don't think there's any question about that. I'm not quite as bad as Tolarian. Tolarian is at 200 fishing on 12 different characters. My initial reaction to that was, that's awesome, followed very quickly by, oh my god, what's wrong with him? There's this point when you're trying to get your fishing skill maxed out, and you get to like 160, 170, and it seems like you have to make 100 casts before it'll give you another point of fishing skill. And you just start hating it. And you're like, why won't it give me that little blue text line that tells me I got another point of skill?
Yeah, that's some devotion right there.
And to have done it 3 times, it's like, okay, that's sort of cool. But to do it 12 times, it's like, why?
Plus, isn't it something you got to do over like 20 separate visits? Because you can only bring it up 10 points a shot, right?
Yeah, it's not like you can sit down and just macro all 200 fishing points. Yeah,
that would be different.
10 points per day, period. You can't get an 11th point until after the clock resets.
Does it reset at 3 a.m. like the server does?
You know,
That would be my guess.
I had thought so, and then I think for some reason I was on a character when the clock rolled over, and I didn't think the fishing had reset. But I might have just left the window open and not refreshed it. That's one of those ones that I don't think it updates automatically when it's open. You have to close it and reopen it to get updates on your status.
I see.
Or I'm wrong, one of the two. Again, if you want to be an official LOTRO stream member, you don't even need to know what you're talking about most of the time.
In fact, it sometimes it helps more if you don't.
True story. Did you get a t-shirt ordered from Zinger yet? He's going to make up t-shirts with a picture of the One Ring on the front, and then on the back of it there's going to be some nice scripted text that says, "High Elves have the best pipeweed." Looking forward to that. Those should be big sellers.
Yeah, that should do well. No, I have not as of yet. I personally think if we're going to have high elves, we should call the other elves low elves.
That's kind of a Spinal Tap thing. We're putting in a brand new character class. What's it going to be? High elves. Aren't there already elves in the game? Yeah, but these elves are going to be really high. Sort of like your amp going to 11. Are you familiar with Spinal Tap? Have you seen the movie?
I have seen clips of the movie. I've seen people watching the movie. I don't think I've seen the entire thing from front to end.
You have to know a little bit about heavy metal to appreciate some of the jokes. And when the movie came out, people went and saw it thinking that it was a real documentary about a real band. Kind of messed with people's heads back in the day.
What I like about it is I watched the LOTRO and the DDO podcast on a thing called Mixler, and it has a volume setting of 11. I'm guessing it's a Spinal Tap reference.
I had noticed that and had enjoyed that quite thoroughly, yes. Yes, that is a Spinal Tap reference. One of my favorite stories about a buddy of mine I used to work with, his name's Kevin. Big guy, makes me look like, well, not petite, but let's say he makes me look average sized. He's about 6'1", 6'2", 300 pounds. Big fella, would have been a great offensive tackle back in high school. And one week at work, he's like, you know what? I want to eat steak for lunch every day this week. I'm like, okay. He's like, no, I'm serious. I'm like, you've gone to lunch with me. I'm perfectly okay with steak 5 days in a row. Okay, well, let's do it then. So we go out for steak on Monday. There's a bar called the Ice House that does a New York strip and fries and salad for $6.99 on Mondays. And it's not a great steak, but it's a decent lunch, and you get to sit there and watch Sports Center highlights. That's a sports ball thing for Zinger, who might not be familiar with Sports Center.
Yeah, that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's not a great steak, but it's, it's a steak. So then on Tuesday, we go to another one of the local watering holes, Clancy's Pub. They did a top sirloin for, I think, $8.99 on Tuesdays, but it was a much better steak. And then Wednesday we found a special, and Thursday we found a steak special somewhere. So Friday rolls around, and one of the best steakhouses in Omaha, Nebraska, the home of Omaha Steaks, is a little place called the Drover, just off of 72nd and Mercy. And you better know where it's at, because you could drive past it and never see the place. But on Fridays at lunch, they do a whiskey marinated top sirloin with baked potato and salad bar for, I think it's $13.99 now. Best $13.99 you could ever spend. There's something about the whiskey marinade on that steak that it tickles the lizard part of my brain back near my medulla oblongata, and I bite into it, my eyes roll into the back of my head, and I'm just like, oh, full Homer Simpson mode, right? So I figure it's Friday, Kevin loves the Drover. I'm like, all right, well, you ready to finish off steak week? We headed to the Drover. No, I changed my mind. I want to do something different today. What? I thought you wanted to do a whole week of steak. Well, I kind of did, but now that it's Friday, I don't know. We've had steak all week. I just want to do something different. Okay, well, where do you want to go for lunch? Let's go to the Phoenix. And I think the Phoenix had their steak special. That might have been Tuesday. I think Clancy's is on Wednesday. I said Clancy's was on Tuesday before. I misspoke. So Friday rolls around, and he wants to go back to the Phoenix, and he doesn't want to do steak, and he wants to go to the Phoenix and get the special there instead. So we get down there, and the special is chicken fried steak. And so we had a moment there that it was a little bit like Spinal Tap. It's like, Kevin, you know that chicken fried steak is still steak, right? It's just been breaded and pan fried. No, it's different. Chicken fried steak isn't really steak. I'm pretty sure that it is, because, it's steak.
Yeah, it is.
It's different, so.
But hey, whatever.
So I think we both got chicken fried steak, and I went ahead and counted it as steak week. Yeah, I hear you, Gussie. Every once in a while when I load up on red meat, I wonder silently if I am not doing my body some serious harm. That was one of the reasons I went vegetarian for 6 months, just to see if I could do it. Because I gotta let you guys in on a secret. Steak is pretty yummy. Now the problem I'm running into is that some of the local watering holes are doing prime rib specials. And they're not petite.
I agree with Gussie on that. Like, I could probably do it except for the fish and the chicken.
Well, there were some places, I mean, given my wife's talent in the kitchen, which we'd both remarked on earlier, we tend to dine out a lot, which is probably the main reason we're both still alive. But there's just every once in a while you'll hit a restaurant where it's like, yeah, you can either pay $11.99 for this bowl of chopped Taco Bell lettuce, or you can get this fish or shrimp dish for $8, and it's like, yeah, I'll go ahead and eat the shrimp, thanks. I mean, they just don't have any vegetarian options at some places. But yeah, I learned a lot the 6 months that I tried to eat vegetarian as much as possible. The veggie sub at Subway is basically just like a salad you can pick up and eat with your hands. It's a happy thing. Although as soon as I quit eating vegetarian, my first thought when I walked back in there was, you know what would make this veggie delight even better? A bunch of cold cuts. So, you know, you get vegetable pizza, you get mushroom pizza, you get bean burritos and bean tostadas from the local Taco Bell. It's not as hard to do as you might think. So, I don't know if I did my body any good. One of the things that happened as soon as I started eating vegetarian, my body reminded me that sugar was not a form of meat. So I just got a really horrible sweet tooth. Thought I found some vegetarian dishes at the Indian restaurants that I liked, and tried some local hippie granola restaurants that I probably wouldn't have tried otherwise, that I actually liked. They're, of course, both out of business now because this is Omaha, Nebraska. There's still a lot of folks around town who are like, what the hell would you want to eat rabbit food for?
I think Omaha would be a tough place to put a vegan restaurant or any kind of vegetarian restaurant.
Well, it's even a tough place for seafood because everything has to be flown in, and you know,
Yeah, I can see that.
there's a lot of bad fish places around town. And then if you go out to a nice restaurant where they really have good fish, it's like, yeah, you can get the orange roughy for $24.95, or we've got this 36-ounce porterhouse for $18.95. It's like, I'll take the porterhouse, thanks.
Yeah, that's kind of a no-brainer.
Burn the banner. I got banners to burn. How am I missing these banners? Need to pay more attention. A Zevia root beer. Diet root beer is pretty yummy. Diet root beer and cream soda are both good. I imagine the Zevia stuff is really good. Sorry if the food talk is getting you hungry there, Gamer Penny. That's why some of us play hobbits. We like third breakfast and elevensies as much as the Shire folk do.
Well, I've got to go for a bit, but have a good stream.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by and saying hi and jumping in chat. And I'll hope you get over your disappointment that I'm not the real all up in you.
Oh no, my real disappointment is when it is the real.
Perfect. Somebody
You
clip
told
that so
us.
All Up can see.
You told us in Twitter you were going to have a guest host. Now here you are. I'm frankly disappointed. Bye, Gussie. Have a good night.
Yeah, I tweeted out about a half hour before I started streaming that. Oh, good. Now I've got an orc smith and named. That didn't go well. Anyway, I tweeted out right before I started streaming that Wanderings of All Upenya would be starting now with 100% less All Upenya. Wasn't sure if that was a selling point or not, but I figured there should at least be truth in advertising. Alright, let's 86 this dude on the warg. We're going to do very bad things to him. And Mishibug, hello. Mishibug is also giving the Zevia root beer a big thumbs up. And he's dead. So... we'll send a friendly cheer out there for the assist. I got another banner to go burn. If I'd pay more attention to my quest log, I would have noticed those on the first pass. It's alright. Has anyone done Where in the World is All Upenya joke yet? Not that I know of, Dagon. Dargon. Hey, Arcast. Orc Slayer Advanced. I said I didn't figure that would be very hard to complete. Here's a giant mountain full of orcs, and we want you to go back and forth across it, killing everything in sight many, many times. It'll help you get the Slayer deed done. I remember when Western Gondor came out with Dol Amrith, and we were looking at the Slayer deeds, and everybody was groaning. It's like 450 Corsairs for Advanced Corsair Slayer, and people were just like, that's outrageous. And then they realized that the entire time you're in the region, you're just killing Corsairs left and right all over the place. And it was like super easy to get to 450. Oop, org. So if you get to Western Gondor and you see that on your deed log, don't get too worried about it. You'll be killing a lot more than that before you're done with Western Gondor. Now, I could send a shout out to Gussie Moose, and rightfully so, because she's a fine, fine streamer. And I can do that right now. And of course, don't forget our own Technical 13, who at least was in chat earlier. I haven't heard from him in a little while. He might still be hanging out, though. Gussie and Technical are both LOTRO Stream Team members. And you should definitely be following them. You can see them here both on LOTRO Stream and in their own channels. And both of them stream a variety of different games, not just LOTRO. Since I'm on the official stream, I won't mention Final Fantasy XIV or Dungeons & Dragons Online or some of the other stuff we're playing. I think Gussie plays, I call it SWATer, jokingly. Star Wars The Old Republic. I think I've seen that on Gussie's channel once or twice. But you can catch him not only playing LOTRO, but you can catch him playing other MMOs like a boss. And wanted to also throw a shout out towards Rcast, who is a relatively new streamer, but doing a fine job and drawing an audience. So if you haven't had a chance to follow Rcast yet, you should do so immediately. And glad to have him as part of the LOTRO community here on Twitch. And as I mentioned earlier, if you're even thinking that maybe you might want to try streaming LOTRO sometime, would hardly encourage you to do it. I remember Gussie Moose mentioning that she'd seen me streaming back before I'd even gotten a webcam. When I first got on Twitch, I had a single monitor, I didn't have a webcam, and I would go ahead and stream anyway and just kind of post my gameplay. No Twitch alerts, couldn't monitor chat effectively, but you know, I was out there just basically showing off the game, and folks would come by and watch and say stuff like, hey, you're supposed to chat with your viewers, that's part of the deal. And so eventually I added a monitor and I added a camera, which I don't know is a big enhancement. I may as well just put a still picture of me down in the corner. Sometimes I go back and watch my replays and I'm like, did the camera freeze here? I don't know that I move around a lot while I'm streaming, which is okay. But, you know, you don't need to start out fancy. Get your feet wet. Get used to using the streaming software. OBS Classic or OBS Studio. They're both free to download. It's freeware. You don't have to invest a lot in a fancy setup. And the more people we have streaming LOTRO and the more people we have watching LOTRO on Twitch, then the more noticeable LOTRO becomes. And the more folks will know about the game and possibly want to give it a try. So the more streamers we have, the merrier. And Rcast and I have talked about this before, but if you ever notice me streaming and you're concerned I'm going to be upset that you're streaming too, don't ever give that a second thought. Did I go past the banner again? I did. I'm already going the wrong way. Please feel free to stream anytime you see me streaming. It won't bother me a bit. We're not in competition. It's all about total viewers and total streamers for LOTRO. And if we have 100 people streaming LOTRO and I'm ranked 97th, then great. I don't mind that at all. The important thing is to promote the game. Where's there a banner to burn? right there. Kill a couple of guys on the way in so they don't end up pulling when I get the boss out. Follow Jerosi. Thank you. Well, it's just, once people get a look at you, Rcast, I've had some issues where, I start streaming with the camera on, and then the next thing you know, all up Enya is sending pictures of himself in his underwear to my cell phone. The wife starts asking me about it, getting jealous and suspicious. It just gets awkward. So I try to avoid the drama. But yeah, I think folks like to know who's actually streaming on the other end. Jerosi will be coming up next here on LOTRO stream, and in fact, I hadn't been paying attention to the time. I need to get off because he is supposed to be on in the next 5 minutes. So, yeah, Jerosi should be coming up here very shortly. I have that Friday night time slot with nobody on after me, so I used to just kind of play until I get sleepy or... I just can't survive anymore without a bio break, so this is probably as good of a stopping point as any. So I am looking forward to having Jerosi on. He's also a terrific streamer, great member of the stream team here at LOTRO Stream. So thank you so much for coming along, and All Up Enya will be back as scheduled. You'll probably see him this weekend on his personal channel. Red Salt is Tuesday nights about the same time. I think they usually run that about 6 to 8 or 6 to 8:30. And then you can catch All Up's regular stream here. That is 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern. All Up and I are both Central, so I have to translate the numbers. I think Red Salt is actually 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So Mrs. Mustafa and I want to wish everybody a great night. Hope you're having fun in Middle-earth just like we are. That's Mrs. Mustafa's hand. Hopefully she's got some food she didn't burn.
Hmm?
What?
I did.
And I got to get off because Jerosi's coming.
Hurry.
So be sure to catch Jerosi and throw him a follow if you're not following Jerosi already. Have a great night, and I'll see you guys again soon. And I'll be on Friday night from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. Eastern, so come by and check out Adventures After Dark too. Thanks All Up for the time slot, and have a great night.